What's going on, everyone? This is your boy Des the King, and we back yet again with another episode of the King Talk TV podcast. Special midday edition, depending on where you live in the world. I have two guests today. One, my friend Jeff, who lives, I think, in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. And I have my man Abdul, who's going to join all the way from South Africa. And today we're going to talk about mindfulness and relationships. Should be a pretty brief discussion, but we believe that it will be fruitful for whoever is listening and whoever stumbles across this podcast. So we're going to bring them on in a few, and it's going to be great. I believe it's going to be a great show. So if you're watching this right now live on IG, please join in the conversation. Shout out your name below, shout out where you're from, just say hi so we can shout you out throughout the show. Please ask questions and engage with us. It's going to be a great show. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please consider giving this a like and subscribing. Comment below your thoughts on this, and as soon as we get both of them on, we're gonna get this show on the road, and it's gonna be a great show.
Brother Jeff. Brother Jeff.
Gentlemen.
Good to see you, Brother Jeff.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
We can. Good to have you both on today. And I just told the viewers that we're going to have a brief conversation about the topics today, which are mindfulness and relationships. Those are two attributes that are essential to being productive human beings, which we all believe. And we're going to talk about how we can implement mindfulness and how important it is to have it. And also, we're going to discuss briefly on relationships and why is it important to get involved in relationships and to maintain relationships. So just to get started briefly, we got Brother Jeff, who just joined. Jeff, tell me again what state you're in.
Man, in the great state
Arizona.
of Arizona.
Right. I had it right. Arizona. So Jeff is a life coach from who resides out of Arizona. Christian man. He knows his stuff. He's been in the coaching field for a while and has great knowledge on the topics that we are going to discuss. So thank you, Jeff, for taking time out your busy day to spread your knowledge all over the internet. We appreciate you. And last but certainly not least, we have my friend Abdul, who is residing out of South Africa, which is very, very cool to me. He is a fitness trainer out there, has a vast network connections, and who's been through a lot, and so he knows how important it is to practice mindfulness and just being appreciative of the moment. And he also has a good sense of relationships and how to maintain relationships, because he stays in my inbox constantly messaging me, how you doing, what's going on. And that's important because that's what friends do. Friends check on each other, and friends make sure that we make sure that we're all okay. So I appreciate him for doing that, and I'm really grateful to have him in my life. So, gentlemen, to get started, our first topic today is mindfulness, and I want to get both your definitions on mindfulness, but I'm going to read one real quick that I just looked up online, and we'll go from there. So I have this: mindfulness is a type of meditation in which you focus your full attention on the present moment. This involves acknowledging and accepting your thoughts, beliefs, and sensations without judgment. The goal of mindfulness is not to empty the mind, but to become an observer of the mind's activity, helping to develop a sense of inner peace and balance. So, Jeff, what do you think about that definition of mindfulness, and what is your definition of it?
I love it. I love definitions and I love a lot of words. So whenever I present and speak to a group, I always break it down as simple as possible, right? Because you want to connect to the lowest common denominator. And the reality is most people don't realize how little they actually know. And they're like, oh, that means that instead. I'm completely aware. So I feel like mindfulness is awareness. Like, are you aware and constantly aware? That would be my simple awareness. Or if you go with a biblical witness, are you witnessing and aware what's happening around you as best as possible? Which there's a little upgrade nuance for awareness, which we'll get into later when we talk about relationships. So,
Yeah,
Abdul, what are
I
your
love
thoughts?
the topic, first of all, the Diz and Jeff. I mean, mindfulness is like, I think it's the way you define it. I mean, it's what you do in your daily life that actually makes you happy. And not just happy by materialistic things, but like things that can make you happy, which can be beneficial to others around you. So it's like your inner spirit that shows that you have this increase of contentment from whatever you do. So it could be from good deeds or daily work or the people you connect with. But I think it's just a range of how you look at life and how you perceive your actions and other people's actions that make you a better person, which results in you having the best mindful behavior and able to inspire to the rest of the people.
Nice. Nice. I like both of those. So mindfulness is being present. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead, Jeff.
I say, what are the people listening in? What do you guys think? Put in what your
please drop
definition
it
of
down for us,
mindfulness
guys. We'd
is.
love to see that later on. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see my good friend Faith Harris, who's an influencer on Instagram. I'm sure she has a great definition for mindfulness. So Faith, drop that in the comments real quick so we can talk about that. So yeah, mindfulness, being in the present moment. That's something that I struggle with. I tend to think a lot about the future. You know, what's going to happen next year, 5 years, 10 years. I like to sort of think down the road, and I haven't always been that way.
Yeah.
I tend to always been to think forward, but these days I tend to think a lot forward. But staying in the present moment is really important because right now is really what we have. The future is not guaranteed, but we do have this present moment. So, so Abdul, real quick before we get to Jeff, Abdul, how do you incorporate mindfulness in your day-to-day life? How do you practice it? What are you doing to incorporate it and to appreciate the present moment?
I think the biggest thing I do, Brother Jeff, and is I actually incorporate lots of my brother's getting it. Hello.
This is great. This is why we do this when my kids are at school. So things like this don't happen.
He's also Mari. He's a big influence of mindfulness because he grew up with epilepsy, but he's still strong, and he teaches me mindfulness a lot. So it's good he came in just to give us a bit of love and happiness, man. Yeah, right.
I love it. Look,
That's the love, man. That's what it's about.
Right
you
now.
See, that's the first example of mindfulness, and that's how I get it. So I think the biggest thing, Brother Des and Jeff, is that I think I love to go out a lot, like travel to places and involved in nature a lot. So I feel like I go to the roots of like how Earth has been before. So that like refuels my soul and shows me that mindfulness can be achieved in various ways. But the main way would be like incorporating nature, physical activities, good things that actually make me a more humble person. So basically, I'm getting humbled by things that are difficult, but at the same time, I'm able to incorporate and achieve complete mindfulness at the end. So that inspired me to like help other people around and also use it to show that I am content with what I have. It may be whatever it is, materialistic, mind, whatever it is, but the main thing is to be happy with what you have, because at the end of the day, we leave this world without anything. So I try to mimic that kind of behavior and use it in our current life.
Nice. I like that, man. Jeff, same question for you. How do you implement the concept of mindfulness in your day-to-day life, given your career and your profession and your family and all that?
I think this is a practice. The way I do it is, first, Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God. So each day waking up, as soon as my feet hit the floor, I have a practice of, as soon as my one foot, thank the second foot, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you. And so just that present moment to ground you in that. And so what are those moments for you? So then I go immediately to my office, to this room right here, and I come down and sit in prayer, like have a 10-minute, and I have a guided prayer, like it has music, it has a little bit of like, think about this, and just in connection with the Lord.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You just
all right?
Jeff.
Okay.
And I heard that response. Yeah, connecting with God is definitely how I would implement mindfulness. And maybe I haven't even used the word mindfulness in I don't know how long, until a couple of days ago. But I guess by default, I sometimes do automatically practice it. When you sit down and you pray to God, you are in that moment with God. You're in that present moment with Him. And when you're in that present moment, by our definition, we are practicing mindfulness. So prayer could be a tangible practice for that concept. Let's see, Faith left a comment. She said, I'm coming with my comment. I'm sorry. Okay, she clicked away. She said, I agree with you all. I believe mindfulness is being humble, being kind, being present, gentle, and embracing God thoughts. So yeah, I agree with that, Faith. Kind of like we just said, when you are in prayer, you are in the moment with God, and you are embracing that moment with God through His Spirit, which is what we believe. So awesome. So the next question, you have something to say? Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I got one more. And I heard this. Who drinks coffee or tea on here? If you guys drink coffee or tea, put in the comments what you drink.
Well, this is
coffee all the way.
This is
there you go.
This is not real coffee. Mushroom coffee.
Yeah. Nice one.
One of the things that I had heard, and I love this, is that first, can you use that, and I don't know about you, but for me, it's almost like a morning ritual, right? Because I make bulletproof coffee, so I make coffee. Are you listening to the gloriousness of that coffee being poured in, right? And then that first sip, right? Can you completely quiet everything? And do you have something great that you can look at, whether it's, a beautiful picture, or can you look out the window and just drink that first sip, really taste it, really experience that first sip of coffee or tea or whatever. And while looking at something that's, like nature, like a plant or something like that. And so just bringing that presence right into the moment, and that you get all those senses, right? Your visual sense, your smell, you smell the coffee, your taste, right? You taste that first sip, and even you feel, you can feel how hot, it is, or how warm in your hands. And so, using that as a great moment for presence, and just having that moment. So I think that's a great one right there. And that's part of it. Where throughout the day do you have your set points or your anchors of mindfulness that you can do? And can you do that with each thing, right? And just like many people, when you have a meal, you sit down to pray over the meal. There's a lot of old deep reasons why, but then that first bite, right? I remember when I was, just real quick story, my father owned a tool and die shop in Indiana, right? So it's a Rust Belt town. This is a tough situation, tough industry. It's dying. You're just survival. But he would take us once a year to Chicago to go do he's like, I'm going to teach you 2 L stops, 2 streets, so you guys know how to get around in public transportation in a big city. You're not going to be completely lost if you find yourself here. And then we're going to go to a show, and we're going to go to a nice dinner, because you're going to know how to act in the presence of a nice dinner or a nice show. So we would always go to a nice steakhouse. Chicago, they got some good steakhouses. Who likes steak?
I've been down and back. I've been down and back from my beef consumption for a little while now. But I love steak.
Yeah, man, protein.
So the moral of the story is, right, everyone loves a great steak, right? or a great, meal. So, hey, we're going to go out to a nice meal. You're going to know how to act. So we would go to a nice steakhouse. And so I would get like, a New York strip all the time, medium to medium rare, because you get that full flavor. And I would just be burning through it, like cut it, my dad goes, I paid $50 for that damn steak. He's like, you are not going to just scarf it down. He's like, take your time and enjoy every bite. Like, that is a very good steak cooked very specially for this moment. We're not going to rush through it. And I was like, dang, that's good, right? So enjoy those first, because like, hey, we know what it's like to not eat, right? Anybody been without a meal? Anybody been without, like, had to eat ramen or whatever, or just, peanut butter sandwiches? Even then, like, hey, at least you got something to eat. So enjoy that first bite, enjoy that first drink, enjoy that first sip in the morning, and be grateful for that. There you go. That is
a great description. Abdul, can you follow up on anything that Jeff just said?
Yeah, wow. I'm listening to the first part of the coffee part, 'cause I'm a big fan of coffee, so I love that the part of having a sip and just enjoying that first sip, of the coffee. It just reminds me that it's such a great analogy of life, I mean, that first sip isn't the same as every other sip, so you just get it once, and you can't get it again unless you make another coffee and then you enjoy it. But the concept used towards the steakhouse that he mentioned also, and the fact that it's all foundation by being connecting to God is the special part, because that's the baseline. So if I connect with God, that means I become more humble. If I become more humble, that means that I can actually feel life and also taste things better, because I'm aware of my surroundings and aware of the stuff I'm doing. But if I'm living in a different lifestyle and I'm not considering God or doing it godlessly, that means I won't be factual, or I won't be like focused on what I do. So I feel it's a special thing that mindfulness can't be bought. It can't be bought. It can only be like achieved through who you are as a person and what you do. So it's like your own self-contentment that will take you to success. So whether it is you maybe made someone's day, smiled at someone, helped someone with charity, bought someone a meal, or bought someone a coffee, those small things, hey, that's what gives you the contentment in the heart that will eventually lead to like you having that cookie jar formula. Like David Goggins always said, have a cookie jar. So at the times of like difficulty, you pull out one cookie, and then eventually it's like your key to greatness, and be like, okay, I just did something good before, and that's going to give me that mindfulness for the moment. I mean, it's linked with dopamine. It's something else though. But the fact that it's actually something that you can only achieve by you doing something good in the past. Because people will forget what you say, but they will never forget what you do, So it's a big thing for me, what the Jeff said, and also Ms. Faith mentioned about mindfulness.
Beautiful, man. One of my issues is, I want you guys' takes on this. I just said I like to think for it. It's hard for me sometimes to just relax and just be in the moment. And a lot of that comes from just me being distracted. So I get distracted by my work. I get distracted by my cell phone. I get distracted by my family and friends. So there are a lot of external activities that can kind of stop you from being aware that you're in this moment, that you're in this time right here. So Jeff, what do you do to prepare your mind to be in the moment? What do you put away? What do you add? What are you going through to prepare your mind to say, hey, I'm drinking this coffee now, I'm taking these sips, I'm smelling the air, I smell the coffee, I can hear my wife fussing at the kids. Like what are you doing to document all that in your head as you're going throughout the day?
I would have to say this, two things. One, it's a practice, right? They're triggering practices. There's a book called Triggers, which talks about this. So it's a great book if you guys want to get out there, how to establish habits. And then the other aspect I'm going to unpack is the word distraction. So first off, with that practice, it's what are the things like, brushing your teeth. Hopefully everyone's doing that. So can you add to that moment? Like, hey, and maybe it's putting a post note. What is it for you? Is it putting a post note? Is it having a partner, right? Relationship, somebody that can help you, keep you accountable to, hey, were you mindful today? Were you mindful in drinking that coffee? Somebody that can check up on you. Can you put like a post-it note that talks about that? So when you go to get your coffee, like, hey, remember this moment. So what are those things so that you then becomes habit? So it becomes habit for you when you do it. And then the second thing is for distraction. Can you guys hear me all right? Okay, good. Because I'm hearing an echo, so I just want to make sure that it's not being coming through there. So distraction, I love this word, right? So let's go through this right now, gentlemen. I love words, breaking it down to the basic level. You're talking about Des, you're talking about distraction. Anybody else on here suffer from distraction? Miss Faith, anybody else on here? Like, put your hand up, put a 1 if you are, suffer from distraction. Let us know if this is a distraction for what you should really be doing, right? Or you're being distracted.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you take off the first part of the word distraction, where it says DIS, what word do you have?
This or
yeah. Well, if you take off this, what do you have that remains?
This distraction, traction.
Yeah.
Traction. Exactly. Traction. Interesting word. This gets even better. Take off the TR from traction. What do you have, Des? You said it. That's right. So if you're always taking action, whether you're doing something or not doing something, it's an action. And there's that action, the word traction means you're going in a certain direction, right? You're gaining ground. Like, think of a tire as it starts to roll, it's gaining traction. So what is it gaining traction towards? And you're taking action, so you're going towards something. And what are you going towards? Is it something that is for you and for your goals and for your purposes and for the things that are good for you in life? Those things that will help your life go well? Or is it distraction taking you away from those things? And in my practice, in my coaching, I always talk about like distraction, dissuasion, deceit, disencouragement. All those things that start with D often start with the same letter as the devil, who's going to try to take you away from the good things of life, for the kingdom, for what feels like heaven.
Nice. Okay. It looks like we probably lost Abdul. Can you still hear me, Jeff?
I can hear you. Yep. I'm good. Yeah, I noticed that. All right. So, yeah, he'll pop back on. Man, I tell you what, if you have been on an interview with him where he's come and gone, like our last interview, he came and went because of the internet challenges in South Africa. It was very interesting.
The last time we spoke, it wasn't that bad, but it looks like they're having issues. He did say it was raining, so maybe that's the issue. But yeah, man, like you said, bro. I like how you broke that down. Like, anywhere if it has a D in front of it, it's detaching you from what you're actually trying to do, and we have to be mindful of that. We have to be mindful of the distractions, and I think a lot of people aren't even aware that they're being distracted. You know what I mean? Because our phones, for example, they're part of our lives daily, and we sort of subconsciously just carry them around all the time. We don't think about it. You know what I mean? But when we actually step outside the box and look at it, we are spending a lot of idle time on these devices, and we're missing the moment, so to speak. There's a moment here that not even just your phone, it could be anything, but those distractions are causing you harm from missing, not harm, so to speak, but if you're trying to be in the moment, if you're trying to practice mindfulness, being aware of the distractions is important. Let's see if we can get Abdul back on here.
Yeah. Well, while you're getting it back on, what is interesting was you're being mindful, you're being aware, you're being present, and think about the word present, right? What is a present to a kid? Present is a gift, right? And so interesting how present, being here in the now, in this moment, that is all we have. We don't know. In 3 seconds, Abdul's internet could go out again, and then he's not with us. That would be so sad, right? So the fact that he's here is a present, is a gift for us. And how amazing is that, right? And I was actually talking with a gentleman yesterday in a coaching call, And he was talking about how he gets so sad because he always makes it a specific, he wants to leave every interaction at least on a good note. Even if it's, hey, things aren't good at the moment, at least I get a chance to say, hey, I look forward to seeing you later. Hey, I love you. Hey, even though we're arguing, I still love you, because he had the moment where his brother went away. Hey, I'll see you later. And he never came home. So we never know if we're all going to be here later. Only he knows. So this is a gift. And so even if things don't end well or in this moment, at least we can choose to end them well, just in case, because really all you have is this present moment. And sometimes it's those tough moments, those tough experiences that help remind us, hey, let's be here. Let's be in this moment. Let's be grateful for that. Let's be grateful that we woke up. Let's be grateful for breath, because who's been sick, right? Who's had trouble breathing? Like even a breath sometimes can be a gift.
I believe every breath, every sensation, every movement, everything is a gift. Everything is a gift. What do you think about that, Abdul? I know we lost you for a moment, but what are your thoughts more on mindfulness?
Yeah, apologies on the network, guys. It was a bit lagging. I had load shedding again. So I'm back on track. But perseverance is the key. We don't give up.
You're forgiven.
And Jeff knows this from the past. The same thing happened, and I just came back. We don't stop. So that's the number one key to mindfulness also, perseverance. So I feel like the more I persevere, the more humble and the more mindful I get over time. So I feel like, the second thought is, there's like you're speaking about gratitude, right? Like being grateful for what you have on a daily basis, because you never know when our ending is, or when we're leaving this world. So I feel like if I have something, I try not to look too much to people who have more than me, because it makes me become like too needy for things, right? So I look at someone who has less than me so that I can appreciate the stuff I have. So I feel that's a very powerful concept, because nowadays we live in times where it's so sad. We see people around us, homeless, having difficult times, and it makes me remind myself, like, the stuff we're going through is nothing, compared to what other people have going on. Like, at least we can go in the morning, bathroom, open the tap, there's water, boom, easily. But some people have to like walk so many miles just to get that bucket of water that we sometimes often waste, So I feel like that's just a wake-up call for me every day, because I feel like those people inspire me even more, realizing that, this is just so much more to mindfulness with them. I mean, if you go to their places, you'll find out that they're actually more content than some of us. And then they in bed early, they're resting well, they're happy with what they have. And just with that little, it shows you how content you can be and how fast you can achieve more mindfulness and like gratitude. So it's just appreciating the small things that we have and looking at what other people don't have will remind me that, we're blessed because we have a shelter above our heads. We have good people around us like Brother Dares, Jeff, together. So that stuff, it gives me more energy to stay positive and inspire our people along the way, because you never know. I mean, God put us here for a reason. So I feel like we have to abide to that and continue, doing what we can.
Yeah. And people, if you battle this, if you're dealing with this, what's worked for you, please put it in the comments. Even if you listen to this later. Des, you were the one that led this great discussion, and you vulnerably shared, hey, I'm challenged by this. And I know you're a jiu-jitsu man and you're a man of Christ. So we take on, right, with jiu-jitsu, right? It's distance management. You're either keeping yourself away or you're going right in. So you're going right into this distraction. What is it that's working for you, or you found that's worked as you take on this challenge and overcome it and embrace it?
What's working for me? Well, what works for me is jiu-jitsu. Speaking of jiu-jitsu, since you brought it up, jiu-jitsu helps me when I'm exercise in general. When I'm exercising, that's probably one of the most mindful moments I have. When I'm really, really in an intense exercise, because I don't have time to think about anything else. I'm focused on this task. I'm tired, and even in those moments, though, Jeff, I still sometimes drift off and think about something else that has nothing to do with what I'm doing now. It has nothing to do with me working out, and nothing to do with me trying to get this arm bar on this guy. I'm thinking about something else. Now, it's hard. It's hard to do that in jiu-jitsu, because if you slip up mentally, you can get got. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to not think about jiu-jitsu when you're doing jiu-jitsu, if that makes sense. But, however, when it comes to other tasks, sometimes my task at work, oh, my boss doesn't watch this, but sometimes my task at work, I get distracted. Sometimes just being out and about, my mind can go all over the place. But what helps me, though, Jeff, to answer your question, is just eliminating variables. So recently I've been trying to put my phone in another room while I'm trying to do something. Even before I pray these days, I haven't always done it. This is just recently I've been attempting to implement this. Put my phone in another room when I go pray. And sometimes when I pray, my phone will go off, and so I may ignore it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. But if I just eliminate the possibility of me checking this notification and just leaving it somewhere else, that there helps me there. Just eliminating variables. Now the challenge for me is wanting to eliminate that variable. I can't believe I'm confessing this now, but since we're talking about it, let's talk about it. Like, I think I'm kind of low-key just addicted to just having my phone around, and being I'm not the only one.
You're the only one. You're the only one that has this problem.
I'm not. But
Definitely. We all go through it. Yeah, for sure.
Being mindful of that, though, I think is the first step, because there are people who are not aware of that at all. They just carry their phone around and just do everything with their device and not realizing that, this is taking up all of their time. We only have a little bit of time here. This is taking up a lot of your time. So, Jeff, eliminating these things, cell phone devices, even getting away from your family. Sometimes you got to get away from your family. I love my family. Sometimes you got to get away from them and just get in isolation with you and God or whoever, whatever you believe in. Get in isolation with yourself and just be aware of your situation and what's going on. And if you're having problems, focus, be mindful of your issues, be mindful of your moment, and just constantly just think about these things. And eventually, if you think about it, I believe eventually you will do something, ultimately do something about it.
Definitely. That's powerful.
Well, and remember, you're in charge, right? You're in charge. So, and phones have features on them where we can take control over them, right? So for that, well, there you go. That's an interesting one. There's a plug. We can just do that. But it's like, for me, I noticed as well, just like you, Des, I was like, man, I'm getting distracted during my prayer time, or like, time that I'm supposed to be reading my devotional because I'm looking at my phone. Well, I can set my phone up. Like, my phone is set up so that I will wake up at 5, 6 a.m., but my phone is in sleep mode until 7. So unless you're on my emergency list, I'm not seeing your text, I'm not seeing your Instagram post, I'm not seeing anything, because my phone, it's like I'm taking control. I'm putting that boundary and that protection in place, and then even during the day, like maybe I want to go for a walk, maybe it's like, I need to step away, and you can go to that focus button on the phone and hit, real quick, focus. So like during this call, I can set this to focus so that text messages don't come through that would distract me from being a part of this conversation.
There are plenty of ways that can help you. If you want to be disconnected, or if you want to put things away, you can do anything you want to do. It's just it's just tough. But Abdul, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I love this part of the topic also, because as you mentioned, Des, it is hard for you during training, to be zoned out completely, but you still try your best because you feel like it's a difficult kind of sport that you have to either go all in or all out, because it needs your focus, right? But at the same time, we live in a world where we have notifications and everybody's contacting us, we all want to check up on each other. It's normal. But if we can build up the self-control to say that, okay, I will view the phone at this time and when I want to, that's what actually makes you more stronger, because it's better than abstaining completely. Because people who abstain build more fear at the end. So it's like your brain is telling yourself, okay, you know what, don't touch this phone. but it's might be someone else controlling it. It might be a parent, it might be a friend, or someone just saying, you know what, guys, don't touch your phone because I said you mustn't. But if he's not there, you eventually start playing with your phone just because he's not there. But if you can build a self-discipline between you and yourself and say, okay, you know what, I will not touch the phone until I can finish a certain task, then eventually your mind like sparks like dopamine. So what happens is like you actually feel like you've been rewarded after you've like accomplished something. Then you can use your phone. I mean, I've heard the marshmallow test though, that they had on the impact theory once, where that was a powerful one. You should check it out. There's here, where they put one marshmallow with the kid and they were like, okay, you know what? If you can stay for 1 hour and not eat the marshmallow, you will get the second one. So a lot of people like, yeah, you get 2 marshmallows. So just for that, some people didn't make it through, some did, and the ones that did actually became successful people later on. So it's just like a concept thing, I feel. But that's one way to do it. A second way would be to zone out and go into nature for a couple of days, where there's no network at all, like in the mountains or somewhere where it's like remote, because that's what actually like makes you stronger, makes your soul more alive. And when you come out of that place, you actually feel like, wow, I just built some discipline because I have no choice. I can't use my phone. I mean, you can't go to the cupboard now, pull out the phone and try to call someone. There's no network, so you actually force yourself, but in a good way. So I think those two are something that go hand in hand in the long run to
that's
avoid.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. That's good stuff, Abdul. And what's funny, I was actually invited to go camping by a friend yesterday. Don't know if I'm gonna do that, but like it just made me think about being away from signal, electricity, and actually just being out in nature. Now that you say that, I may actually consider going. Jeff, looks like you're reading through the comments. Did someone say anything in particular?
Yeah.
I can't really see the comments like that.
Check it out if they have any Q&A. Also, some powerful stuff been mentioned here as well. From Fazila, Fazila, yeah. Shout out to you. A chef from South Africa. Shout out to her. She's really good. And she says the phones and computers do not allow the brain to develop. Yeah. That's powerful.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
And also,
yeah. So sometimes it's knowing like what something's doing something bad to you, that can kind of wake you up to like, ooh, I need to deal with this before it deals with me.
Right. I saw something. Someone said, okay, Faith said, my distraction can be always wanting to nurture my family members to be sure we all are moving, but sometimes that can distract you if you aren't careful. Yeah, taking care, doing a good thing like that, taking care of your family can be a distraction. I mean, that's tough to say, but you can't just always take care of your family. You gotta do other things, like take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your family. You know what I mean? So you can't let taking care of your family distract you from taking care of yourself. So good stuff. We got a few more minutes left. I did want to dive into relationships real quick. Let's start with Jeff. Jeff, you haven't spoken in a minute. So how can we, how does practicing mindfulness enhance our personal and professional relationships?
That's a good question. However, I want to emphasize the importance of relationships, and you can go back to the beginning in Genesis where, God made man, right? All right, I made this man. And then what did he say? He said, this is not good. It's not good for man to be alone. So think about it this way. Like, Des, you have a coach for jiu-jitsu. Abdul, you're a coach for fitness and training, right? People can go out there and be doing stuff on their own, right? But how do you know if what you're doing is right or wrong? How do you know how good you are? How do you know if you're doing it wrong or there's a better way? You're not going to know because you're alone. So there's that power of having that other person there to help you along, to help spur you further, right? Iron sharpens iron. As iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another, because that's how you find out how good you are, or where maybe you could get better. And just think about the greats, right? Kobe, MJ, every soccer or football great there ever is. They didn't get there by themselves. They had to have a coach that helped them there, that spurred them on. That's the power of relationships. And Jim Rohn says you're the average of the people you spend time with, right? You know, some people are like, you're the average of the five. Well, you're just the average in general. So who are you spending time with, even if you're alone, right? You know, as Des and I talk about, like Christ, you know, one, being alone is isolation, right? It's the biggest torture in, like, whether it's jail or like in war, like isolation can be vicious. But wait a second, it's like Christ went off alone, but who did he go alone with? He went with the Lord, right? So even if you're alone, even if you're single, even if you've just got a lot going on and you're working at home, you don't have to be technically alone. You can be with your Holy Spirit. You can be with the Lord. But if you're alone, that's when the devil can come in and start to do some nasty things, right? So, and then as well, like nowadays you have this device that you're watching this on. You can find good people. You can, you know, lean in. In fact, a lot of the people that I've met and with clients and things like that is people that I've met through different groups and communities that are, hey, I want to choose a good community. I want to choose better. I want to get involved in a prayer group or a fitness group or something like that. And just think about that. You know, it's like they're getting better. Hey, I'm really glad I met this person. Maybe it took a little courage to step in and had to face a little bit of fear, but there's such a reward on the other side.
Thank you for that, Jeff.
Abdul, what do you think?
That's powerful. That's something special. There are very few people that can relate to that at the beginning, because the first step is the hardest step. I mean, you know, for all of us, whether it may be doing new things or like observing things from others, especially being alone at times can be hard. But also, like you said, the part of God, Jeff, is that most of the time, you know, being alone isn't a good thing. Because, I mean, the devil can get to you at times, you know, like by thought or by negativity and stuff like that. So that makes someone like go on the wrong path. But let's say you, Brother Jeff and Brother Dev are with me, for example, and we are somewhere out. I could maybe think of something and you'd be like, no, don't do that, because that might be not a good idea. And Dev might say that, okay, you are right, don't do that because it's going to take you on the wrong path. So eventually, like, two thoughts are better than one. So when they all like collide with each other, it becomes a better process for people to get stronger and not like, you know, fall on the wrong path. But relationships, I think it's the main thing for today, just to keep us like sustainable and like better for the long term, so that we can be, you know, example to mankind, you know, and people around us. But we all start at somewhere. So I feel like, you know, in the future we all will get better and maintain our amazing habits and just be the best we can.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I really appreciate you too, for sharing these thoughts. They're really, really not just good thoughts, but it's good practical advice, not just for me, but I'm sure whoever watches this, and there are going to be some people who do watch, but whoever does watch will definitely get something out of it. So last question I do have for you too, starting with you, Abdul. What are some final things that you can advise someone out there who is wishing to eliminate distraction, be focused on the moment, build good relationships? What's a few things that you can say to that person who's trying to improve in those areas of their life?
Yeah. Well, thanks, brother Dave. I love the question. I mean, I feel like this is something we can offer to everyone by being authentic. Firstly, like we always said in our podcast before, practicing what we preach. So firstly, I want to say that we aren't perfect. We do go through times where we also need like guidance or, I mean, you know, things on the path. But we often fall down but get back up. So my advice to people out there is that, you know, if you ever have like negativity in your mind or something that's bothering you, or you lack some mindfulness, it might be there's something in your life that's distracting you from getting to where you are. It might be negative friends, even negative family sometimes, or it might be the wrong people that are influencing you negatively. So there's those impacts that affect people in the long run. But for me personally, I feel like just being who you are and admitting your faults will make you a better person in the long run, because then you will know that, okay, I messed up, or I'm deficient in A, B, C, D. But the next person might teach me a few things that I might learn. So instead of being arrogant, I'd rather learn that and then proceed with that later on and show people that, you know, just do things that will keep you on the right path by basically being simple, straightforward, and just being authentic for who you are. And then, people just love you who you are. So your relationships get better, your mind gets better. And then eventually you feel more content because you're like, wow, without anything extra, you just became so happy. So how did that happen? But not godlessly, with God. But it's like a cup, we are the cups and we have to fill the liquid inside. So the more it gets full, the better we are. So like we have to obtain that liquid and enclose it so that we can get stronger. And the more it overflows, the better, because the overflow will help other people as well. So that's just the knowledge and the wisdom, man. So I hope that can help, and we just continue doing this because this is our path, guys. I feel like later on people are listening, and even if they aren't on the live now, they will hear this later. So we'll be surprised how much people can learn from this. Us three here today.
I love the cup being full analogy. We need to be like cups and allow God to fill us up and let it overflow. To the cup runneth over. Jeff, what are your thoughts? These last few thoughts.
With regard to what exactly?
Well, the question was just your final thoughts on just someone who is someone like me, someone who gets distracted kind of easily, but who is aware that they're getting distracted, but it's looking for ways to implement mindfulness in their life, meditation, prayer. Just your final advice for that person to get them started on being more mindful of life.
I would say be courageous and believe, right? So I would say that because for a lot of people, they know they need to do something better, and for them to admit that they need help is a big first step. So it takes courage because there's fear involved with that. Courage is of the heart. It doesn't take any courage to walk around your house and breathe. But if you go out to a place where people are sick, maybe it does take courage to walk and breathe, right? So be courageous and reach out. If you know somebody that you trust, reach out and say, hey, I'm working on this thing. Would you help me? And here's the beautiful part is most likely the Lord will put the people in and around you that can help you along. You might have to be the one that just takes a simple, courageous action, and then the result will be amazing. It'll be abundantly more than that little piece of action, that little fear that you overcame. The gift on the other side, the present on the other side is significant, and your life can change, and maybe their life changes too. And then maybe you can tell more about this great thing that just happened and how it was beneficial for you. And it took a little bit of courage, and you just believe that there's going to be something better on the other side.
Awesome,
than there was.
Yeah. Awesome. Did you have something to say, Abdul?
Yeah, no, I was saying that's a beautiful thought that Brother Jeff mentioned at the end, like of something beautiful on the other side. I just love the way that is, because it shows that we all go through such difficult journeys in life. Every person's got their own journey, and it might seem easy for others but difficult for them. But then we just have to learn from each person's journey and apply that to every podcast we do, so that we know how to help them. Because people lack guidance in today's time. So I feel only we can do that by talking from experience and not just like theory. Because that's the only way to relate. That if we've done it, we can actually apply it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I appreciate you too so much. It looks like we got good comments. People enjoyed it. Someone said, always try to beat your ego. I don't believe ego is just all bad, but there are times where we need to check our ego and humble ourselves. So nice comment from that person. I didn't get the name. But thank you too, man. Like I said, I appreciate it. This was way better show than I thought in my head that it was going to be. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying this was really actually a good show, and I enjoyed talking about it. Real quick before we depart today, thank you all who all watch again. Abdul, do you want to shout out your YouTube channel, Instagram, and let people know how to get in contact with you? And I want you to do the same, Jeff.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, everyone, thanks for all the love and support once again from Brother Dave and Brother Jeff and I. And we will continue to make more podcasts in the future, and we are going big. So it's the main thing is that we just keep doing what we have to do, guys. And then check us out for more podcasts on the AQZ Warrior Destiny on my Instagram, Abdul Qadir Zobi at 99, and also at the YouTube channel, which is AQZ Warrior Destiny. So it's building up, but we are going to keep pushing through and do more collabs with King Talk TV and Brother Jeff. So let's just keep pushing it, guys. You know, we are here to inspire you. And if you need anything, just DM us and we will be there to help you all.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just want to first lift you guys up. I mean, Des, thank you for both of you. Thank you for courageously putting your podcast out there, for stepping out. Thank you for being vulnerable. And Abdul, like your positivity, guys, who doesn't need somebody encouraging and positive in their life? I know that even though I come across very positive, it's an effort for me, and so you need people like Abdul in your life. So go out there, connect with him, get his notifications in the right away so that you see the positive stuff he puts out there, because that helps to lift you up. You're the average of people you're around. And Abdul, thank you again for being diligent and persistent and perseverant, which are parts of the fruits of the spirit, because you continuing to work with us and all that we have going on makes these things happen. And now you get to reap the reward, and you will be blessed because of it. So praise to you both for reaching out to me. Actually just redid the website. So check out yourstorytoglory.com. That's my coaching and consulting, running workshops. I love that stuff. So if there's something you're struggling with, reach out. No cost the first time. We got to make sure that we're all working together with the right people, or it's like, hey, maybe I'm not the right person for you, but maybe my friend Abdul, he can help you with that fitness game. Or maybe my friend Des, he's got some coding skills. He's got some, I don't know where he's at in the BJJ game, but like his jiu-jitsu is by far beyond mine. I only got 2 stripes. So, get there, get after it. These guys, I mean, that's how you do it. Just that courageous step. Like, hey, let me have a conversation, see where it goes, and see what kind of great things can come out of it. So, you can find me here on Instagram, Jeff Sherrill, or Your Story to Glory, and good things are coming. And at some point in time in the near future, a YouTube channel will be there. So maybe if it's 6 months from now, go check out YouTube and type me up. So
thank you guys, man. I appreciate you both. Thank you all who all watched this, everyone who left a comment, who gave their opinion. That's what makes this all great. I will have all their links up below on the description of this video. And my name is Des the King. So follow me if you're not. Follow these 2 gentlemen here. They're awesome. We're all doing great, and we're doing God's will. So thank you all. Gentlemen, you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. Hopefully we can meet again like this soon and have another show. But I appreciate you two for giving me this great content to post on my platform. And God bless you all, man. We'll talk soon.